You voted for Trump because of RFK's health views? That's like hiring the mama because the son is on that stuff. Like, why would that be a plus, and why would that lead your decision making? Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Now, two things that I have tried to make pretty clear here on this platform. I pull absolutely no punches when it comes to people who wouldn't act in their own best interest with the misguided thought that they would somehow be protected and the worst would befall people who look like, I don't know, myself, even when someone who looked like myself was actually trying to protect you. Yeah, and I'm talking specifically about Latinos for Trump. That's one thing that I've made clear. Another thing that I've made pretty clear is that I am, as I was immediately after the election, as I was before the election, as I was all of last year, going back as far as I can remember, opposed to the ongoing demonization, characterization, and inhumane treatment and rhetoric which has been directed at our most vulnerable populations, whoever they happen to be. With those two things in mind, I want to show you something.
No one deserves to go through something like this behind bars. He has lived in Florida for more than half his life and worked for the same construction job for many decades. Every day that goes without him here is a day lost forever. This is about being human, about love, connection, and presence. The one thing he needs the most is the one thing that we're being kept from giving him, which is us. I feel that it would be immoral and inhumane to let a man who is suffering, who is terminally ill, spend what little time he has left in pain and isolation. Please don't let him die in a cell. Please don't let his vital memories be of those of pain and isolation. The American flag stands for compassion, kindness, liberty, and justice for all. We're all human, and today I'm asking for one human act of compassion to please let my dad come home.
Yes, to those of you ladies on the line, thank you for staying with us and providing your testimony. It's a difficult position for us and for y'all. However, I've listened to your testimony carefully. My vote, again, is to deny the request for conditional medical release. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, though.
I listened very closely to your statement, and you used the words that the American flag represents compassion, kindness, liberty, and justice. And those are all the things that we have to take into consideration, both on behalf of the citizens of our state as well as the person whose case we're hearing. And we make the difficult decisions. And so I am going to continue with my previous vote, which was to deny the request for conditional medical release. That would be a majority vote to deny the request for conditional medical release.
Now, I'll be honest. I had a very hard time seeing that, not just because of the situation that her father finds himself in, but the situation that she finds herself in. And as you probably read in the captions, people in seeing it did a little bit of digging in who she is and how she found herself in this situation.
Hey guys, there's this girl going viral right here. Her name is Cynthia. Her dad has stage 4 colon cancer and is being held at a cold center. And she is from somewhere in Florida. and she's really pushing that GoFundMe and pulling on people's heartstrings. But I do want to add that she did vote for this.
I would not wish this on my worst enemy, okay? As someone who has lost her father, I do not wish this on you or anyone else, even if you voted the way you did. However, to find out you voted for Trump, and now you're asking for help because Trump is doing the thing that he said he was going to do, and then the reasoning on why you voted for him, I don't understand. I simply do not understand. Nobody deserves this. Nobody. But you voted the way you did. And there are a lot of individuals out there that are in the same circumstances, thought the same way you did, and now are in similar circumstances asking for help. Like, it baffles me. And I was like highly invested in your story. And again, I would not wish this on my worst enemy, but be so for real.
Now, one thing that I do want to add is I'm not exactly sure what her motivations were in this, but she did record herself. She recorded herself in an extremely vulnerable moment in her life and a pivotal moment in her father's life. What would be a pivotal moment in her father's life. And I'm not sure what her reasonings were for doing that, but in doing so, it continues to be a brick in a multi-level mansion that's being built in the inhumanity of this administration, which for her part in installing this administration, she seems to be also doing some part to characterize it in a certain way. And in that regard, it kind of becomes, like the George Lopez joke. Remember we were mad at the George Lopez joke? Because I saw that some people were mad that she recorded it, how people, on social media will record moments and pretend like it's organic and spontaneous. Well, it just becomes like that anti-black George Lopez joke.
There's still 2 rules in the fucking Latinos family. Don't marry somebody black, and don't park in front of our house.
We can be mad at George Lopez for telling the joke, but one thing he did was give us evidence of the anti-blackness that we could reference decades later, now that they have acknowledged it themselves. And that, I must say, is valuable. Now, to what the last woman said, because she said, she talked about her reasonings for voting that way. That was curious too. Okay, so the initial poster writes, I'm so sorry about what you're going through as a black immigrant. I noticed that you reposted Trump and RFK. Did you think it was only us they were deporting? Why did you vote this way? To which she responds, thank you, and you have every right to ask. To be honest, I only voted for Trump because I supported RFK's health views and believed in his message about making America healthier. When RFK dropped out, I made a decision without fully informing myself on Trump's plans, especially around immigration. That was my mistake. I didn't realize how deeply it would affect families until now. I'm owning that and speaking up because no one should have to go through what we are going through right now. I'm trying. No, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. You voted for Trump because of RFK's health views? Are you... That's like hiring the mama because the son is on that stuff. Like, why would that be a plus, and why would that lead your decision making? That's with your dad in that situation. Now, does this mean I don't have to pay my school loans? What about my car loans? Now, because it's shut down too. The administration shut down the government because they would rather punish you than work together to make things better for you. But you know this already. Did you know that this administration and the government shut down their willingness to protect your privacy? That was done years ago, and we're still feeling the effects. Our government rolled back a rule that would have required data brokers to get your consent before selling your information. This has empowered data brokers who take all the information they can find and sell it to the highest bidder without your knowledge, which makes it even worse when we know the government lets them do it. Legally, data brokers do have to remove your private information if you tell them, but of course they make it as hard as possible to do so. They want you to feel hopeless and stuck. Sound familiar? And this is where today's sponsor, Aura, comes in. Aura does the hard work for you, constantly scanning the dark web and submitting opt-outs on your behalf. Give Aura a few weeks and you'll stop seeing your information on these sketchy sites when you search yourself. Aura makes it much easier. Aura doesn't just opt you out of data brokers though. Their app includes other features like dark web monitoring, fraud alerts, a VPN, and more. It's truly a great deal if you want to be more private and protected online. You can go to my link, aura.com/ReeseWaters, to try 14 days for free. Again, that's aura.com/ReeseWaters, and that 14 days is enough time for Aura to start scrubbing your personal information off these data broker sites automatically. We saw just how irresponsible the internet can be. We saw it with the I will vote for Donald Trump. I had the whole video about it. And they got very disrespectful with this information. Very disrespectful. Just use your imagination. They got very disrespectful, which is not my intention here today. So here's what I found in the thoughtful and reflective category of response.
Latina content creator right here voted for Donald Trump, and her terminally ill father ended up getting deported. Now this story is going viral on the internet because people are using this as a way to attack people who voted against their own self-interest. Right? And I gotta talk to my Latino people here, the people that voted for Donald Trump but have undocumented immigrants in their own families. It's like, listen, man, I get it. You have your own personal political beliefs and you have every right to have them, right? But sometimes in life it's good to be self-aware. Sometimes in life is very good to think of, okay, this may not affect me personally, right? But can it possibly negatively affect people around me? And if the answer is yes, man, sometimes it's best to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna stay out of this one. Because if this ends up being you, man, you're gonna lose your whole family behind it, man. They already didn't like you for the fact that you was already voting over there, and now you went and casted your vote, gave them a helping hand, and then we lose pops, or we lose moms, or we lose our uncle, or you lose a sibling. And if you do want to vote, you don't have to speak about it. Vote privately. Don't tell nobody, right? But a lot of y'all men came out here screaming at the top of y'all lungs, man, like, nah, we gotta get Trump in there. No, y'all undocumented fucking parents, bro, or relatives or friends. That's just my take. I believe in self-awareness, man. I believe that being self-aware is very important. And yeah, shit's crazy.
Now, I love that one for two reasons. One, he mentioned, will it affect anybody else? Will it affect those that I love? Will it affect the people around me? Taking care for your fellow man, like so many of us have been tasked with doing, both last year on through to today, thinking about us. That's one thing. But he mentioned self-awareness, and isn't that so missing from so many of these conversations that we've been having about this particular issue?
If you look on the video on the screen, she wrote that she made the wrong choice as millions of others did. And now is not the time. Now is not the time for us to be against each other. Now is the time for us to come together and to have unity and compassion and action. Those were her words. But you weren't thinking like that when you went in the booth, made your vote on the 5th of November, 2024. That's not what you were thinking about, was it, Cynthia? You thought your vote was going to harm Black people because, as a rule, as a means to assimilate into white supremacy, harming Black people is what it takes. So you and your dad wanted to be on the side of whiteness. So that is why you voted the way you did, because you felt like any negative things that happened, you would be saved, because all your life, your dad had raised you to to be on the side of whiteness, to assimilate into whiteness, to be against black people. That's what you were raised to do, so that's what you did. And now you're getting what you deserve, and so is your dad. I'm in agreement with the decision of the powers that be and denied. And that's what it is.
Now, the idea that compassion is needed and now's not the time to be against one another is so ironic, because that vote is such a vote for us to be against one. That is a vote for non-compassion, is what that was. That's the crazy irony to hearing that from people whose hands are on this Trump 47 administration. Now, as far as the characterization that she thought she was white and she thought this was going to happen to black people, I was not willing to go that far based on what she had said in the message. She said that she voted because of RFK's, because he was on the dog food, or something about how he said racism, you could be like the Avengers or something like that. Something that she liked RFK. So I was just thinking she was just like not thoughtful, like just it was not a thoughtful vote. That's what she had put down. That's all I had to go on. And then she recorded a whole nother video. And that video is actually the reason why I made this video, because I wouldn't have made it initially just for the first one. I made it because we've had so many conversations about how we got here, specifically with regards to the Latino vote. We tried to explain it based on conditioning from past regimes, right?
There's a girl and her going viral because her dad got deported and she voted for Trump. She's Cuban. I want to explain for the younger white people why she voted Trump. Cubans are mostly Republican. This is for a few reasons. One, until President Obama was in office, Cubans could not be illegal in America. We had a policy that if they could swim over here, they could stay. That's because we were largely anti-communist, and because the people who fled Cuba were the ones who did not like communism, it's the right-wing Cubans who left. Then they landed in South Florida, where everybody's fucking rich and opulent and spending money. And they're like, haha, this is great. Of course they are Republicans still, because they couldn't be deported. And there's a lot of issues between the Cubans and the Mexicans, because the Cubans would kind of like talk shit to the Mexicans, like, why are you here illegally? And the Mexican would be like, the fuck do you mean? I got here the same way you did. They just made a law that made it okay for Cubans. Cubans are like, yeah, it's because they like us. And Cubans usually have lighter skin, so it's a whole thing. But anyway, Obama made them illegal. And so I guess that didn't turn them left either. But they didn't really think that went through.
Now, I can't put myself in the mindset of somebody who comes in with the conditioning of dealing with a brutal regime in a foreign country. However, I would think that the indicators of said regime would be the most offensive things. I would think that the signposts of authoritarianism would be the most problematic. So I patently reject that, especially considering that it was the left that enabled your immersion in the first place. We've tried to explain it via right-wing propaganda.
You're undocumented and you support Donald Trump.
I support Donald Trump for the economy.
The economy where? Huh? The economy where? The economy back in your home country? Is that? Because I don't see how you would be supporting Donald Trump based on the economy here when you're undocumented with the threat of being deported. And we've also tried to explain it via just plain old-fashioned anti-blackness. You know, the thing that's staring us right in the face. And I don't even have to reference us calling it this. They've called it themselves.
Some of the Latino support for Trump was a vote against the prospect of the first black female president.
There's still a lot of machismo
There's still a lot of misogyny, and something that we need to say aloud is there's a lot of anti-blackness.
Are y'all ready to talk about it? Huh? Are y'all ready to talk about it? You know, the same anti-blackness that we see at work today for not being blank man on the spot to come to their rescue.
The selective outrage that some of you all are giving black people for not going out in the street and protesting kind of reminds me of how Kyrie was punished for sharing a link, but Amazon wasn't touched for actually showing the movie. You know what I'm talking about? Well, I have been telling a lot of our black people not to go out in the street and protest, as are some of my mutuals. Not to go out in the street and protest. That is not our time. Our time meaning that this is not the time for us to go out in the street. This is the time for us to boycott. I have said personally it's not our fight. Right, it's not. It's not our physical fight. That does not mean that we don't stand with our brown brothers and sisters. That does not mean that we're not sympathetic and empathetic to what's going on over in LA. I think that there is an immigration issue that we do need to have corrected. However, I think the way that it's being done is barbaric, and we don't want anybody doing anything that it is unlawful to any of our brothers and sisters. None of them. However, as black people, we know that when we go out in the street, it's a whole different ball game. We're the ones that's being unalived. We're the ones that's being jailed. We know that we just get treated differently. Why would we go out there and experience that bloodshed? We've done it for so long. We've been on the front lines. We have sacrificed ourselves for a very, very long time. And the white people who aren't allies, some of them, even in my comments, have said, no, y'all stay home. We already know what happened when y'all go out there. We got it. Stay home. And then you got some white people that are like, well, especially Latin people that are like, why aren't y'all here? Like, y'all need to come on and y'all need to do this and blah, 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 blah. And for me, it's a no. It's going to be a no.
But here, she explains it in her own words.
As easy as it would be for me to say that I wasn't thinking when I voted or that I don't watch the news, I had to ask myself the same question that hundreds of you are asking me, is why did I vote the way I did? I've spent the last few days reflecting, and I feel like I came through some sort of revelation, or like blindfolds were ripped off my eyes. I started seeing things differently. I questioned my beliefs, my choices, and my role in all of it. I started to realize that it wasn't just this one choice I made. It was kind of a accumulation of choices I've been making for years. Like, for example, when I had my first daughter, I never taught her Spanish because I didn't care to have her learn Spanish. And after having my second daughter, I kind of knew that I wanted her to speak Spanish because I wanted her to be able to speak with my family and connect with them and have a sense of belonging with them.
Wait. So you wanted to teach your second daughter Spanish because you wanted her to be able to communicate with your family and have a sense of belonging, but that was not a priority to be able to communicate with your family and have a sense of belonging? Because we started this with your love and affinity for your father, who is in line for deportation. So presumably he's also amongst who you were talking about, but you didn't see the need to teach your first child Spanish to communicate with him. Yeah, this was definitely more than RFK. Yeah, let's make that clear.
The hate I received online, although it was harsh, I feel like it was so needed, and I'm so thankful for it, because it made me realize things that I was blind to for so many years. I feel like living in South Florida, surrounded by Republican voices, I was brainwashed into thinking I was one of them. I fell for the propaganda, the normalization of cruelty, and I believed the lies that gave me a false sense of security and belonging.
Now, we've heard about this journey for Cubans, specifically for quite a while now. We've talked about it right here on this platform, and I, for one, am happy to see that your eyes are open and that you have realized the propaganda for what it was, and and you can call out the cruelty. But see, the thing is, that happened because it affected you. Like it needed to affect you before you could call out cruelty. And in affecting you, it's affecting everybody. We're all affected. But I am happy that you're in a better place now, though.
I was convinced that voting for Trump was for the economy or against crime, when in reality I was supporting a man and a movement that dehumanizes people.
No, we're not. That's done. No, that's the hey, no, we voted for Trump for the economy or against crime will be tolerated. That is done. Try again. The man came in with felonies. Stop it. No, and bankruptcy. He came in with felonies and bankruptcy. What are we talking about here? I voted for the Joker, for the comedy.
He basically built his platform on targeting immigrants, spreading hate, and pushing policies that ultimately broke families apart. I regret my vote so deeply, and if I could go back and change it, I would. My vote wasn't just a mistake, it was the ultimate betrayal of the very people that I come from. My dad isn't a criminal. He was a hardworking man. He raised me and my 4 siblings, and now he's fighting for his life in a cell.
Now, I feel terrible for your dad, and that was a very strong statement that you made about your vote being a betrayal of all the people that you come from. I think it's bigger than that when you talk about how you were living. I think it's a span of time that became a betrayal of all the people that we already talked about, how he can't communicate with your eldest daughter. So I think the betrayal started prior to November. But I am glad to know that you see it. I am glad to know that you recognize it, because there is a next step. And we will need all of this. Yes.
I'm still fighting with everything I have to see if I can get him released, so that he's able to spend his final days at home surrounded by his family and his children. When I voted for Trump, I supported the very system that allows this kind of cruelty to happen. That is a choice that I have to live with.
Back to what I said earlier about her posting this and recording herself, posting it going viral. These are all things that presumably could shame the administration. You get a lot of attention on a case like this. It could help your dad's chances of being able to remain here and living out his final days around his loved ones in peace in this country. But this commentary, this statement, is not. That is not the kind of thing that might help your dad. So I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that.
Some people have said that my family deserves this, or that I or my dad deserve it, or that it's some sort of justice. But no person deserves to go through anything like this. No person deserves to be ripped away from their family. No one deserves to die alone and sick and far from people who love them. To my family, to my community, to my children, and to every single person who has been affected by the choice that I made, I am so sorry. I've started educating myself on immigration, on the US history, on systematic racism, and how people in power manipulate and try to divide us. I'm reading, listening, learning, and unlearning everything that I thought I knew. And to anyone who is feeling the same regret as I am, I want you guys to know that there's still a way for us to move forward, but it starts with honesty first. Somewhere along the way, I forgot where I came from. I forgot the dirt roads I used to walk down. I forgot the bucket paths I used to take. I forgot my mom's struggle and my dad's sacrifice to come to a brand new country to start a life for all of us. When I voted the way that I did, I turned my back on all of it. I know that a lot of you aren't going to forgive me, and I'm really not expecting anyone to, but I just want everyone to know that I'm going to move forward with more compassion, continue educating myself, and fight for those who can't fight for themselves.
Now, she apologized to all those that were affected. I don't necessarily need her apology, but I appreciate that she apologized to her dad for the way that her vote impacted him. I think the thing that I would call for is the honesty that, quite frankly, she showed at the end of that statement. We're not talking about RFK no more. No, she's talking about abandoning her own heritage and turning her back on the peoples who led her here. And those are the people that she also apologized to, which was a credit. She talked about systemic racism. She talked about thinking she was one of them. It was all there. It was all in there. And that is the kind of acknowledgement that will be helpful moving forward. Not, it happened to me, I'm affected, please come help me, right? Because we have a lot of those kind of stories, but a real look into what brought you to this place, which is going to be some very difficult conversations that you have to have with yourself. Now, I do have one more thing that must be addressed. We have talked about people voting against their own best interest, right? We've talked about people voting for their own deportation, things like that. And one of the things I've said is there's two sides to this. There is the fact that these people are subject to this low-lying misinformation and disinformation, and there is the communication, and obviously there's a lot of selfishness. Some of these people are willful, right? I'll hurt myself if you'll stumble. You know what I mean? I will fall if it means you go off the cliff. Whatever the case may be, right? We understand these people exist. But at the same time, we have to address the communication gap that exists between the left and the right. Because Democrats, let's state the obvious. This woman voted for the party that had mass deportation signs, despite the fact that her terminally ill father was in the firing line. And if that don't tell you about a lack of connection and communication, I don't know what will. We went at her for quite some time, but y'all gonna have to deal with that. I mean, really.
I will vote for Donald Trump, even though he keep deporting y'all. I will vote for Donald Trump. He been snatching all y'all kids from y'all.
Not now. Not now. We just had a moment. Y'all can't be trusted. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. And as you can see, we made it 600,000 subscribers. So you know what that means. We gonna party. So be on the lookout for notifications of a members live.
A house party. House party? The mother of house parties, man. A pajama jammy jam.
And of course, I gotta extend huge gratitude to all the people whose hard work have made 600,000 possible. Like my man David, whose work on the thumbnails is unmatched. Of course, our editors, Denzel and Boz.
The most diabolical haters this side of the Mississippi. Buck Nasser, what can I say about that suit that hasn't already been said about Afghanistan?
And all of the fantastic mods going all the way to the very beginning with Mariana and Dank and Deshauna, Roberta, Larry, Wendell, Chernobyl, Midnight Oracle, Lovely, Nola, and of course, TJ, who just got added, Miss Ray, who runs the whole entire ship.
You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you?
and Regina, whose research has made all of these videos so much better than they ever could have been otherwise. And by the way, I think we have a new newsletter that you should check out as well. And I know she thinks I forgot her, but no, I never could. My girl, Kristen, who sent me this photo with her dope mug, and it looks fantastic. Thank you so much for all your hard work as a mod. Thank you for the pick, and thank you for being 10 toes down with the channel. And while we're on the topic of merch, some of you guys might have heard of a new website. That is the People's Getup. That is the peoplesgetup.com. That is the site whose content you'll be seeing soon right here on the YouTube channel. You know, things get a little complicated when you try and cross stream. So we couldn't connect it from the ReeseWaters.com. We had to develop a whole nother website. Don't even get me started. I'll probably have a members video just ranting all about that whole process.
I hate you. I hate you. I don't even know you, and I hate your guts. I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else but you.
Thanks to my wife for that one. But check out thepeoplesgetup.com for all the merch you'll be seeing soon right here on the channel. You can pick it up right there. And by the way, there's lots of new stuff there and more to come for the holidays.
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
Is that a Who Raised Y'all shirt? Yes, it came recommended. What's that? Oh, the sixes? No, because I got 4 6s. I got 4 6s. So if you have 4, it nullifies it. 3 is a problem. If you have 4, then you good. Where I saw that? 2 Corinthians in the Trump Bibles. 2 Corinthians. That's what. So yeah. So I'm good.